All right, this is the latest installment of my daily series where I've been inviting super chats for people to vote on what kind of content they want to see next. So I'm kind of in between projects right now, and I've been filling in the spare time with streaming every day for a while, working on the block mining simulation game. So continuing on from where I left off last night, I merged in the changes from last night, and I will begin doing some work on that this evening. Let's see what the state of it is now. So last night I started adding text for the help menu. So for what I committed, I just added the regular help menu back. How's the housing situation? Did you have the hearing? The hearing is going to be May 26th. So I will I'll have more information. Well, I guess we'll have the hearing, and then I don't know, it takes a little while for the tenant board to come up with a decision. But still housed for now. So they have to it takes a while. They have to get like we'd have to lose at the hearing, and then they have to issue an eviction order, which I'm not sure how long that would take. And then there's, if they actually get the tenant board to issue an eviction order, then things are kind of getting serious at that point. But until that exists, then I'm good to keep living here. If you had to see the future, what will it entail? In society, or in my life, or in what specific context? Okay, the menu is back. Anything could be the next president of the U.S. Where you're going to eat tomorrow. I don't know. That gives me a very broad freedom to answer. I think the discourse in society will get increasingly, entertaining. The media, the news cycle will continue to entertain us with lots of crazy things happening in the world. Things will get more crazy. Safad Khan says, "Hey Robert, I was wondering if you would ever teach again, or did you wash your hands of that for good?" I'd say it's in my opinion, that's in my opinion, I am teaching now, and I don't know. The business model of what I'm doing is not it's not definitely proven, but I think that in terms of like the efficiency of educating a lot of people, what I've done with the YouTube channel, I've taught probably more. I've conveyed more information to the world through the YouTube channel than I have in my time teaching. And actually, I just saw a thing today that said apparently the Conestoga College is seeing like a 95% reduction in the number of students they're having. So I would imagine they're probably laying off a whole bunch of staff and stuff. And I think there's in basically every area of the education system, there's like that there's going to be, earthquakes that are going to go through, and it's I don't know what's going to happen with it, but it's there's definitely going to be growing pains. They're going to either reinvent themselves, or it may become totally like obsolete. Do not disagree with your perspective based on your history. Was wondering if you would ever go back to teaching at schools. I think that the my capacity to just educate in general is greater through something like YouTube. So probably never, maybe starting my own school or something, or that I think that would be more likely than go to an existing one. Because if you working at a, the real question is like, what do I get for going to work at one of those places? At the moment, it would pay more money, but if I can continue to see growth on YouTube, there's the possibility that it could make more money in the long term. And people say that like this kind of YouTube social media influencers like has no job security, but it might actually have more job security than working as like an adjunct professor at one of these colleges or something. Because I think a lot of people are getting, like, I'm sure with the 95% reduction in international student enrollment, like I'm sure a lot of people are losing their jobs. And there's also there can be like draconian rules and stuff passed down by the administration and stuff that you have to comply with, and let's see. There is, I think, still. I think in general, though, there is still like a missing piece, which is accreditation, and that I think if you go to like a college, or school, university, there's really two things you get out of that. You get the education, and you also get accreditation. So you get like a piece of paper that says, yes, I certified that this person knows the content. However, like from the University of YouTube, you get the knowledge and the education, but you don't get any accreditation. So if you learn a lot, there's no way for anyone to verify that you actually know anything. So that's kind of I think that's kind of an unsolved problem, but I don't know how things are. I'm not really sure how the society will evolve. I think we may see the rise of more kind of like small-time entrepreneurs and like people just getting jobs through like meeting people on social media and stuff. And I heard that the KW region is known for having a big tech hub, like Silicon Valley of Canada or something. Is that ever remotely true? If so, shouldn't you have lots of opportunities? That's what I thought moving up here, and I think it was that way. That was the perception I had prior to 2015 or so, like just after I started my business, because I got my first contract pretty quickly, and there are tech companies here and stuff, but honestly, I have to probably. I haven't looked to see if things have changed much in the last year or so, but like last time I looked, like a lot of the events in the event space had kind of died off. Like there, I used to go to meetup.com events a lot, and then during COVID, all that died off. And there are tons of there are lots of wannabe entrepreneurs. There are people who are chasing the dream, but their dream is it's not realistic, but they don't know it's not realistic. And if you watch my how to become a 37-year-old broke loser video, all the anecdotes and stories in that video, that encapsulates in much more detail the kinds of interactions that I've had with so-called tech people. Now the other option is just go get a full-time job at a company. There are a few. Shopify, I think, is one of the big tech companies around here. I think Google does have a pretty nice office there in downtown Kitchener, so that would be an example of a place to work. But then again, these are not really, you're just going into the corporate machine. And if I was going to do that, I'd probably just go to. I'm not sure if their salary is different here compared to the U.S., but I think it would make more sense to go to the U.S. or would have. I don't know if how difficult it'd be to get a visa to go down there now. The weather went from 22 Celsius to 38 Celsius in the span of a few days where I live. That's not even much. Up here in Canada, we've had weather go from minus in the teens, minus 15 to plus 15, plus 20 within 24 hours, and then everyone's pipes freeze. Portfolios used to kind of be a way of self-accreditation, but now with AI, I don't know. Yeah, that's another dimension to it. I'm not sure Google is so easy to get into. On top of LeetCode, I'll have to prep for Squid Game. Yeah, I have a friend, a guy I knew from university, who worked at the Kitchener Google office. I was never successful in getting a Google interview. I tried, and then I sent in a resume for to Google to get a internship, and then this guy responded to me right away, and he's like, "I'm looking to hire you for a full-time position." I'm like, "I'm still a student. You must be responding to my inquiry." And he's like, "Nope." So I don't know what was up there, but there's definitely a shift in view of accreditation. It's just proof. You can arrive on time and fulfill a rubric of requirements for 4 years rather than proof. Do you understand the subject? There's a lot more on the job training growth. That's good to hear. Although I'm not sure how global that is. I haven't really been into the kind of rat race for a regular job for so long now. It's changed so much. At least you don't get rolling blackouts and double priced electricity during demand hours. Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't have that yet. Is YouTube your main income right now? Yes. If I remember correctly, you graduated from UW. I cannot imagine UW grads struggling here. So I decided to pursue a business. That makes things a bit different. My whole vision was to do a one-man software consulting business, well, long story short, it didn't work out. Did you watch my 1 hour long How to Become a 37-Year-Old Broke Loser video? If you saw that, then I don't want to re-explain everything in that, but that's basically my my life story of how I got to this age with no savings. Now let's figure out how to do this menu. I did. Oh, yeah, I did. 37-year-old loser was how I discovered you. You aren't a loser. Thanks. Sometimes you can do all the right things, still not make it. Yeah, I mean, to some extent, you could say, you could call it a cope, but I think I was kind of unlucky in getting like the first initial contracts. Like the first contract was actually good. We made the product, we made the dashboard, and we got some money from it. But it was a struggling startup. They didn't have money for like a full time. So once that ended, I went on and started hustling for the next contracts, and there was just nothing that was stable. And in my view, it's kind of I think it's a bit of a contradiction that they say that if there really was so much demand for software development, then I think it would have been easier to do what I did. Because if I became a plumber, there's tons of people looking for people to do plumbing jobs, but most of the tech money is all in being a full-time employee at like an established company. The idea of going off on your own is it can work, but the success criteria is completely around sales and marketing. So much so that I think if you're to do a software consulting business, I would advise someone to don't learn anything at all about software development and focus 100% on like networking, marketing, and communication, because that's where that's like the limiting reagent to get the business. If you got the business, it's easy to find the developers. K9 Tech 124 says, "Hi, I saw your old CPU vid." Yeah, I guess it is an old vid now. Are you still trying to make your business work, or are you only focusing on YouTube right now? I focus on what works, what is growing, and what makes money. And right now, YouTube is the thing that is working and making money. And like technically, I haven't actually quit doing any of the software consulting work. It's just that the existing work dried up to nothing. And so I stopped like kind of aggressively trying to go out and network for leads and stuff. And I do get a few inquiries still now about stuff, but it's like, build a blockchain thing or something, or like, some people give me proposals for like, I have an amazing business opportunity for you. It's going to be great. I'll give you 10% of the profits or something. It's or they want me to like sign an NDA right away, which is like immediate red flag, and means I'll ignore it. Better no savings than losing it all, being in debt in our prison. Yeah, at least I don't have any debt. That's pretty awesome. Are you still trying to? Oh, I read that. Introducing Robert Elder coin. TM. Yeah, someday. Well, I better not allude to doing a crypto thing, because someday, just in case I get hacked or something, I don't want people to be fooled. So for the record, I will never do a cryptocurrency coin launch. What are you programming right now? What are you coding? I'm currently working on a terminal-based block mining simulation game. So it's a game you can play in the Linux terminal, where you wander around and you spam the M key to mine blocks. So I'm currently working on improvements to the help menu. You plus Elon Musk advertising this new NFT coin. Me and Elon Musk? How would I get Elon Musk to endorse what I'm doing? I gotta get a bit more rich and famous first. Let's see. So I have this complicated thing I wrote for printing text, but it works. It should work pretty well. It should let me handle like line wrapping and stuff. So even if I make the window small, it should work. Let's see. I'm already using AI to take phone calls with my phone, with my mother, who has dementia. Interesting. So you're actually using AI for stuff, or? What got you into coding? I'm currently trying my best to get an app on its feet. First try, so I have a lot of fails. I first got into coding. I was probably like 14 or so. I kind of knew coding was the thing, and back when I was playing video games, I kind of wanted to. I wanted to learn, I guess, how to program so I could make games, and then eventually, I had ambitions to then trade the stock market automatically and make lots of money. And then I learned a lot more about coding and a lot more about the stock market, and I realized that's not feasible for a retail investor. Just always being curious about computers from a fairly young age. No, but my family members have gotten unsolicited phone calls with my voice, pretending to be in jail or something. Oh, wow. Demanding ransom. Wow, that's crazy. The maximum I'd use AI for at the moment, it's like a glorified search engine or dynamic code generation tool. What time is it for you right now? It's up at the top. It's 2100 hours 48. So 9:48. What are you working on? I'm working on a terminal-based block mining simulation game that looks like this. It's a game that runs in the Linux terminal where you wander around an infinite universe and you spam the M key to mine blocks. Do you think you'll be able to release an embedded hardware system with this embedded hardware system with this running on it? I mean, theoretically it could, but I think actually the jar is pretty huge, so it's not really designed for embedded systems, but I guess theoretically a stripped down version could, maybe one that works over the network. Because I think most of the size consuming libraries are all to do with the SQL database, and also if you want to put the database itself on the embedded system, it's going to take up a lot of space. Now I think this probably won't render very well. Yeah, it's putting it up there, which is not what I want. do find it interesting to develop a game commercially for Steam or mobile. I'll see where I get with this one, and then if if people actually like it, and if there's like an economically viable model behind it, then if I can continue to get people to give super chats and stuff for me, like programming it on stream, if that's a viable business model, and making videos about terminal and some of the stuff I learned about the programming aspect, if that's viable, then I guess it's conceivable. I'll probably just continue publishing the source code and having the current licensing model for now anyway. Didn't make it home. Had to get a hotel room. It was okay. Now 3 beers in. So you said you had to drive 800 miles yesterday? Or yeah, kilometers. Let me think. I think for YouTube content, digestion, a roadmap, or scope of the day would be nice to have on screen for added context. Yeah. I guess I thought I started the series just saying you can do super chats to suggest something. I guess I'm not really sure how people watch these streams, if they just if they only look at the live, or if they go back at all to the intro and read that. Because then also a lot of people, probably maybe 75% of the views come from the VOD after it is done, or maybe 50% of them or something. So if you're watching the VOD, you probably start by watching the intro. But honestly, a lot of the super chats, people have not actually opined on what kind of content they want. So yeah, I guess it's a learning. It's clear that people want to give me money for some reason, but I guess the reasons are not necessarily always what I think they are. Grand Prairie Red Deer. Back to Red Deer. Back to Grand Prairie. It was actually 1,100 kilometers. I knew I wouldn't make it, so I estimated. That's a lot of driving. Plush Duck says, "Hi chat. I only watch what I catch live." Yeah, I guess that's it's interesting. Personally, I never watch live streams. And even if someone is live, I'll often wait until they're done being live, so I can watch the VOD at 2 times speed. I support you, bro. Thanks for the kind words. Everything is more exciting live. Yeah, I guess if you catch stuff, but that takes a lot of time. I would have to I could live stream myself watching people live stream, and then I could sit there and react to things. But that would be boring. Let's see. I like the interaction. Yeah, I guess that it took me a while to figure out that's kind of like the main thing that makes live streaming the thing. It's not just about passively watching stuff. It's the ability to affect the outcome. What are some of your favorite YouTubers? I watch a lot. I guess a lot of a few random ones that just get recommended to me that I always click on. There's I think Geology Hub. He always does these videos on like volcanoes and stuff, and those are always like super interesting. And he does these like detailed analyses on things. The one about shipping. I can't remember if it's the channel name or if the title of his video is called like What the Ship. I think that's might be one of the names of his series that he has, but it's like just about like news about cargo freight and stuff. It's like kind of random stuff that doesn't have anything. It's not really relevant to me. Actually, I don't know if it's a sign of the times, but YouTube has been recommending a lot of military stuff to me lately. Of all the weird stuff I say, I don't even judge me, at least openly. May walk me through reasoning, but you're a G. Thanks for the kind words. I think the ratio of viewers, I would guess it's 50% background viewing on TV, computer, 20% somebody interested in the content, 20% interested in your story, 20% as procrastination. Yeah, it's an interesting mix, and every once in a while there's like people who are like, I have no idea why I'm here, but I just like watching this for some reason. The internet is a better place for you, being on a pro. Oh, that's very heartwarming. Yeah, there's yeah, I guess I don't have any follow-up to say. Robert, thanks for making content. I started watching you from my favorite Linux commands. I had some questions since I am new to tech. Thanks for being so transparent. You are a unique person. No worries. I'm glad you got something out of it. Let's see. Lots of offset information to think about. Okay, I think that'll fix the y coordinate. But the x will still be broken. I'm gonna have to add an optional parameter to that function. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people like watching, if you're interested in a career path, it's like, you might, and if people are like too shy to ask questions, it's always nice to like just kind of passively watch. And I think that's also something people get out of it, of just watching, someone live stream doing work. So you can kind of make up your mind about whether you even like doing this and like the vocabulary and stuff. Robert, have you ever considered switching industries entirely? To what? Someone says, "Hi Robert, how are you?" I'm doing pretty good. I'm making progress on the block mining simulation game. gonna figure out a way to pass in parameter to this function. Now, how weird, chat disconnected. Did you get the syntax bug? That wasn't syntax, but order of operations. Yes, yeah, I got that figured out. It had to do with how I was passing messages. So some of the messages were getting queued and they were ending up there out of order, and that so it was he was trying to invalidate it. He was trying to invalidate it before the actual write had happened, and so the screen got messed up. Like whatever gets your gears turning. Like what other fields do you really find interesting that little other people do? I could do that, but there's also there's a cost benefit analysis of like I could completely jump ship to something new, but then you have to like you have to ramp up to it. You have to like change your life around and possibly move, and like it's not like snapping your fingers. And for the moment, I think it makes sense to stick with the momentum I have and continue on that, because I could just as easily like try to completely switch to something new, and then find out there's another set of problems with that. And then I'm just spinning my wheels. Let's see. Where does the initial X come from? Oh, you know what? I guess that has to be done with padding. You seem like a very analytical person. I appreciate it. I watch your content because I have motivation issues. So watching you be able to work on something for the sake of it helps. Well, I guess I'm glad. I'm glad it helps to motivate you. Although technically, every moment that you watch my live streams that's a moment when you're not working, not making that money, or doing them courses. Are you also on Twitch? I'm not on Twitch. I found, but I have a Twitch account. If you click through, there's I have like a basically I have a page set up on my like whatever the YouTube links section, but I don't use it yet. It's not. I have not concluded yet that it makes sense to do so. So I suppose it's well deserved. Thank you for streaming and other such content in your channel. I can also be a very analytical person. And if you're at the 37-year-old Brooklyn Zoo will be my life in 13 years, well, you've got 13 years to correct it. In your defense, I wouldn't be working regardless. It gets me over the hurdle. Yeah, I hope there's it does something positive for you. So. That should be, let me overload that. YOY says, hey yo, how's it going? Bro, what's going on? What's he making? I'm building a terminal-based block mining simulation game. It's a game that you play in the Linux terminal, where you mine blocks in an infinite, procedurally generated universe. Lack of motivation is a recent thing. After discovering the way the world works about 3 to 4 years ago, my motivation buffs weren't nerfed as bad. Just need to circle back at some point. Yeah, I mean, the pandemic period was pretty hard on everybody, and I think that was a lot of people got kind of burnt out from that. And then there's, of course, the growing sense of hopelessness that everyone has about, collapse and stuff. And I guess, I mean, housing's always bad in California, but up here it's, I can't remember it. I can't remember if we have it worse up here now than down in California, but it's terrible everywhere. Housing is just getting so, the average person has to work like 15 years to just get a down payment, and kind of takes the whole fun out of, buying into the system that we got going. You should try multi-platform streaming. You'll have a broader audience, most likely. Yeah, I haven't thought about. I've thought about that. I guess I'm doing this like I considered this, since I'm in between this in between period. I'm working on some other stuff during the day, and then in the evenings I'll stream. Because I don't want to start work on a long form video, so right now I'm finishing up work on getting ready for the next hearing. That'll be done. Working on that probably in the next couple of days. Then I'm going to work on some shorts during the day and doing the streaming in the evening. And then probably, so the 26th, that's when my hearing is. So after that, I don't know, technically we could lose at the hearing, and then I'll have an eviction order against me. And then I have to figure out where to live and move all my stuff out. So that's, but anyway, once there's a bit more certainty, and if it seems like it's quite possible that I may continue the streaming, and then I may conclude streaming every day is not the best use of my time. Or maybe it is. That's, I think, yet to be determined. I know that you can reach a broader total audience, but I think it hurts your metrics a bit. So I only have there's only 15 people that watch on YouTube. Or it seems to average around 20 or something. Sometimes it goes up to 40. But from what I've heard, if you multi-stream, some of your audience, some people just choose to watch you in the preferred platform, so your YouTube numbers will be lower. But then of course you'll kind of make up for that on Twitch. But then again, if I do Twitch, it kind of only makes sense to do it a longer term, because if I stream on Twitch, I don't know if I'd be committed to that, because if people start subscribing and stuff, I might just quit in a little while. It also takes, I would have to figure out a multi-streaming method. And then the question is like, should I just ignore the chat on one of the platforms, or like, how do I stream with like chat integration for both? I haven't really looked into this yet. I think you mentioned you were a TA at Humber College. I was a professor at Conestoga College. Never at Humber College. I'm considering going back to school. I did a boot camp, studied web development, but I feel there's still a gap in my knowledge. I'm a domestic student in Toronto. Do you think university has a better reputation and career opportunity, or is college okay too? Kind of indecisive right now. So my experience, I guess before having been to both, my perception before was like, I thought university was just like a better, more prestigious version of college, and technically it kind of is. But what I learned from teaching at the college is the college tries to emphasize, at least I think a lot of Canadian colleges try to emphasize a bit more hands-on knowledge. So it's quite possible as a like if you go to university and you don't do any internships during your undergraduate, it's quite possible that you will graduate and have like no work experience at all, and be kind of like really clueless on the job to start with. To a degree, sometimes, like if you do a 4-year degree in software engineering or something and don't do any co-ops, which that doesn't exist at Waterloo, but it might at some other universities. When you go into the workforce, you might be kind of like, hard. You might find it difficult to work with other people, but the college tries to emphasize in everything they do, like they give you like less theoretical knowledge and more hands-on practical knowledge. I think I'm going to proceed on my house in a box truck project, finish college, get a decent job, pay off my debt, become independent to hopefully purchase land. Yeah, if you can make it work, I guess the ideal case is you can like stay at your parents' place long enough to bank some money and stuff. I think the house in a box truck, I mean, that would work for traveling and stuff. I guess it depends. It depends what kind of routes you want to put down and stuff. I'm curious, as a 21-year-old nobody, what is this? Is a college 21-year-old nobody? What is this? This is a game I'm working on. It's a terminal-based block mining simulation game. It's a game you play on the Linux terminal, and you wander around and spam the M key to mine blocks. This is Sparta. There are some restream services that provide you with a combined chat. Yeah, I would just have to look into those. I don't really want to give like my stream and credential access to any kind of random service I've never heard of. I want to make sure it's not going to like compromise my account or something. I got to get a job and a kid to take care of, but I envy people's free time. I always thought TriOS was a good school, but a hard one. TriOS. I know that's a college around here. I have no idea how good it is. I know their logo is their logo doesn't really give me the best impression of their school. God bless you and your family. Thank you for the work you do in society. We need more people like you. Thank you for the kind words. There, I think that'll work. So this will make the menu items work even if they scroll or they don't fit properly. Nope. I'm currently enrolled in a WWGU course. I'm about to pace on a 4-week study schedule, but I'd rather it be my initial 2-week estimate. But I'd rather it be my initial 2-week estimate to be true. Curious, do you have any advice for maintaining discipline, doing things you know you really ought to be doing and such? I would always appreciate different points of view and beliefs on it. I guess that's a kind of common question. I think it depends on it's an individual thing. Like if you're something you don't want to, something you have to do and you're not doing it, it's usually like an individual reason why you can't motivate yourself to do it. I find having structure, like if you have a schedule or there's some kind of like if you just like sometimes your mind just goes into like automatic mode, and you like if you go to the kitchen or something, you might just kind of like wander around and like open the fridge and eat something. Or if you're buy a bowl of candy, you'll just grab a piece of candy and eat it or something. So I think if there's stuff you have to do, you have to figure out like how do you just make your brain on autopilot, like decide to do those things next. And if you're doing something complicated, I think breaking it down into smaller pieces, that's quite important. Nice. The menu might be working. Yeah, so like on this thing, there's on this game I'm working on, there's a lot of stuff that I want to do, and it might seem overwhelming to someone, but I've been for the last 15 days, every day I've been coming on, doing a bit of streaming, try to stream for a few hours, just make I'm not making a lot of progress every day, but every day I'm making some incremental gains and trying to and eventually when everything is said and done, then I'll look back and be like, yeah, I accomplished a lot. had to walk back to my ORM. I slam those 6 beer. It's going to be a short night. Well, drink responsibly, I guess. This Eskimo person says, "Hey dude, how are you? I'm good. Just wondering, you're using Vim mostly. Did you start from IntelliJ or Vim from beginning? I see you using Java or JVM." I guess I started. So I've always used Vim, but actually recently I've decided to start trying to use IntelliJ more. But I guess tonight I've just reverted back to not using it at all. I was going to try and use it because it would, like I guess I do most of my like just writing the code and navigating it. I do it better if I'm in the command line. But if I'm there's a couple of things that I really need and benefit from the IDE from, and that is debugging. And also if I just wrote like a whole bunch of code and I have like 50 like syntax errors or something, and I don't want to like recompile it 50 times to find the error, then I can run it on this and it'll show me all of them. But I find it seems like if I actually just change the code, I still haven't. I could probably look into this to figure out like how to get it. So as soon as I change the files, to get it to automatically recompile and highlight the errors. I set policies such as locking my phone on my desk. That way I don't get stuck watching YouTube. Yeah. I find if you some part of motivation, if you have like bad habits that you get kind of in a if you have the capacity to kind of get like addicted to doing something you're not supposed to, then you can probably figure out some way to get yourself addicted to doing the work you're supposed to do. And sometimes I find that like the hard part is just getting started. And like even when I'm working on this, it's kind of hard. It feels hard to get in the rhythm of it. But then once I get working on it, I almost don't want to quit. And I have to force myself to go to bed earlier. I just learned about the bell on YouTube. Crazy. I had to get a hotel. I assume you mean you got the hotel first and then started drinking. RCXRY says W. Do you play CS? CS is in like Counter-Strike or something, or some game. I don't play any video games. Last game I played was Minecraft, probably a couple years ago. What's your OS? I use Ubuntu. It's intuition, but I felt that he doesn't in my soul. I heard most Java devs use IntelliJ. I'm just a casual VS Code user. Yeah, I've coded Java in Vim for years, which is like abnormal. But and it's always been on my to-do list to kind of like either learn like some kind of better tools. I succeeded in Googling VS Code, which people recommend to me almost every stream, but I haven't actually played around with it. I'm still just getting used to IntelliJ, to be honest. This is going to be more personal, but take a note of your own book. 37-year-old broke loser, great, humble video. I'm recovering cannabis addict. I say addict is in daily for a year. How do you cope with that? And if you can't, what do you do with yourself? How do you cope with that? How do I cope with what? do right. Yep. Unless I have a need to use something else. That's cool. I think because of Primeagen, most people are going toward Vim and NVim. How did you learn NVim motions? I just learned them a long time ago. I guess I started learning Vim in like 2009 or something, so it's been a while. Then a habit that I didn't really. How do I cope with that? Then a habit I didn't really have a good control over at all. I don't know. I've not had that particular habit, but I guess you could just take small steps and try to focus on something that'll put yourself in situations where you're not going to be exposed to that stuff. I think a lot of it's just like out of convenience. You're near it, or it's available to you. So if you, you just fall into old habits. Okay, so that works. I feel you're doing therapy. Also, I appreciate answering all the chat for Vim. Did you go through manual or any specific instance? Yeah, on the note about therapy, that's the other thing I'm learning about live streaming is it's all, in some ways it's almost like a therapy. People come in to chat randomly and have like random life problems and stuff. I guess I didn't quite expect that aspect as much. Like there was someone last night who was talking about he was like a paramedic and a firefighter, asking for advice about like maybe going into programming and buying a house. And Bradley sends $2. Nice stream. See you later. Till next time. Thank you for the $2. Have a good night. Yeah, for learning Vim, I would say it's been a while since I learned it. I guess I kind of learned. I started off with like just Google searching for like Vim cheat sheets and like amazing things to do in Vim, and then I kind of learned a subset of Vim that to me is very useful, and I just kind of stick within that subset. And there's other like tricks in Vim that actually there's some more esoteric ones that are kind of useful, but I forgot them because I just don't end up using them too much. And I'd say there's like I have occasionally gone through the manual to learn some stuff, but once I kind of there's only so many kinds of actions that you do in writing code. Like after you've been coding for a few years, you kind of can settle on a few of the most common things you do in Vim. But I have sometimes I have to consult the documentation for like weird bugs with syntax highlighting, and sometimes like encoding errors and stuff, or how to set certain variables. Yeah, there's so like what some of the patterns. Vim is kind of like compared to Emacs. Emacs is more like it's just random hotkeys that do specific things, but in Vim it's more like a set of it's like a grammar. So I can do, if I type VI and then the square bracket character, it highlights everything within there, and then if I want to delete that, I go X. But I can also do Y to copy. So the preceding parts of that are all the same. I just have to figure out how to get it selected. And then if I want to select like everything between these braces here, I can do VI and then squiggly bracket. And then now I have everything between, I've got this entire function selected. And so the preceding characters are the same. Squeak, there's a lot of long paragraphs. I'll just skip over those. Kevin says, "What does your social life look like?" It's pretty much non-existent at the moment. I get up, I work all day, and then that's pretty much it. I went to the cafe a little while ago, and sat there. I tried to get an iced coffee, and then they said they were out of iced coffee, so I got some other kind of weird drink. But that's the first day I've had a bit of spare time in a while. Funny enough, my background is in health science. I did nursing for 2 years. Last 2 years been doing development. What is your go-to Tim's order? Tim's got Tim's food became terrible. They're basically like I think they got bought out by Burger King, and now they brought in like fries and stuff. I haven't actually been. I think I ordered like a turkey club sandwich like last year or something, but I haven't been to a Tim's. I haven't ordered anything from Tim's in like the last time I went there kind of semi-regularly was like maybe 3 years ago. That's not what I expected. Oh, that's because I forgot to update the line count. Adrian Amadi sends $2.50. Thank you for your time. Have a coffee. Thank you very much. What did I just find? This is a coding live stream, and I'm coding a terminal-based block mining simulation game. It's a game that you play in the Linux terminal, and you wander around an infinite universe and spam the M key to mine blocks. On the topic of deadlocks from before, I actually ran into one at work today that was due to database transactions, not application level. Yeah, database deadlocks can be a big deal, especially if they happen in production. That was something we had to think a lot about it at Amazon. Squeak, it's unfortunate about your health issues there. I guess we're all getting older. I definitely feel the impact of getting older as well. It's not cool getting older. Have a good night. Good luck. Are you going to share it on GitHub? Yes, there's a link to the GitHub in the description. There's no advice for me. I continue to take huge doses of acids with food then. yeah, I don't have any health advice. It's remarkably difficult to find like even doctors that care about your health. If you can find a good doctor that actually seems to care about your well-being, then keep them. You love money? I love money too. It's pretty cool. It lets you do stuff. Once you hit 25, your life is basically over. Yeah. I'm way older than 25. I'm basically dead now. I wish a girl would look at me the way Robert Elder Software looks at the Super Chat donations. Alright, that's starting to look like a menu. Alright, now let's get some better background colors. Malplay says BVC. I'm not sure what that acronym means. Yeah, damn, what's up with all the doom and gloom in chat? Yeah, I haven't really been following. There's a lot of chats about some side conversation there. I haven't really been following. Average adult brain fully develops by age 22. Everything's completely over by 25. Your body starts to get old. And also, if you're a programmer, you're getting close to your expiry date when ageism will start to kick in. Squeak, some of your conversation is going a bit off the rails. I try to keep the chat mostly focused on like programming and technology stuff. I don't want to. If there are any women here, in the unlikely chance that there are women here who are over 25 years of age, I don't want to scare them away. I was checking my analytics today, and the demographics for the channel are 90. It's 4% female. So we gotta work hard to. I don't think it's necessary to be too politically correct, but if there are we don't want to scare away people unnecessarily. All right, that's looking good. We got a help menu with a highlighted menu option. So now I can, it's kind of hard to read though. Didn't know you had such a large female demographic. Yeah, it's I was kind of impressed. A lot of tech. Well, it depends. Actually, I think it depends on the type of content, but usually it's pretty close to it's between like 96% male and 100, depending on the type of content. It would be. I think broader topics, like things that have a more general appeal. Like I think the how to make a CPU video, that one went very broad, so it's still in like the 90% male audience, but there are a few more women that watch that one. Yeah, in terms of the conversation topic, it's a tough call. I don't want to like censor people all the time and stuff, but then I have to control the conversation in some way. Otherwise, it just goes. It's just like random stuff, and then like people be like, "Oh, cool, a programming channel," and then they click in here and they're like, "Ah, this is not what I expected to see," and then they'll leave. And also, the algorithm will listen to us and be like, "Oh, these are like a bunch of men complaining about relationship problems," and then the algorithm will be like, "I know, we'll find other men on YouTube that like to complain about relationship issues, and then we'll send all of them here," and then they'll be like, and then the channel will turn into one of those, it'll turn into one of those like male depression channels where there's like, "Oh, women today are terrible," and it's just like reviews of, women on TikTok and. But that's not what this channel is about. I still don't like what that looks like. I got to figure out a better color scheme. Don't want to do that to this live stream. That's enough of that. Yeah, I think that conversation has run its course. I'm in Canada right now. Maybe we can visit Robert. Canada's a big place. What about white font color? Yeah. What about green? any way to remedy that wood iron clipping issue? Do you mean when I open the menu, or what's the furthest north within Canada you've been? How different were things? I haven't really been much more north than where I am. That could work. That'll work for now, I guess. I'm in the subarctic at the moment. Oh yeah, you're pretty north. So is there an ability to win this game, or is it just collecting as much stuff as you can, or something along those lines? Right now the game is actually like it's so simple that it's almost not even a game, and a lot of the work I've done is just trying to get the user interface and stuff working. So like you can make this inventory. Right now the inventory is just like basically a display of what's in your inventory, and I like this over here. It's like a rendering issue I need to fix, and there's no ability right now. There's no ability in the game to select items in the inventory. That's on like the to-do list. And then once you can actually select stuff, I'll maybe make some like crafting recipes or something. But so all I have is like the minimum playable game loop with no. You just mine an infinite number of stuff, and there's no end. Pickaxe thing is clipping the border. Oh yeah, yeah. So that is it's just on the to-do list to come back and resolve this. And eventually I'm not sure what I'll do, but I'll have to add something to the inventory to make it like scrollable or something. Have some way to be able to look through your inventory. Make sure to like the stream for the algorithm. So the next thing will be to send input to this thing. So right now, it does nothing with input. I heard making games in Terminal is hard. Why is that? Terminal is a limited user interface, so that's one challenge of it. Make sure all items you can have in inventory fill up the visible box. Yeah, there's lots of ways I could present it. What? No need for scrolling logic. The problem is I don't know what the screen size is going to be, and then also what if there's more items than can be displayed on the screen? What if there's like thousands of items in the end? What's the temp right now in Yukon? Not sure about Yukon, but here in Ontario, it's today was nice. It was a nice, warm, sunny day, 15 to 20 degrees or something. 13 degrees in Toronto. I would scale, and at that point, you would have some UX solid. Having something with some scrolling is not that difficult. I already have like scrolling for the help menu. Robert, if it's not too much to ask, can you give a quick rundown on generics? In what context generics? I'm pretty close to Toronto. You live in Toronto, or you're traveling? Like for classes and methods? I'm not really sure I have a lot of insight. It's something that I kind of struggle with. I just kind of like mess around and Google compiler messages until it works. Some street signs are blue and some are green. So street signs are blue. I can think of green ones. I can't think of blue ones. Just visiting Toronto. I haven't even been to Toronto in a while. What are you coding? I'm working on a terminal-based block mining simulation game. So it's a game that you play in the Linux terminal where you wander around an infinite universe and spam the M key to mine blocks. Wait a minute, slow. Is the application you're making titled World Domination? No, the stream title is just kind of like a random. It's just like a random nonsense title, basically. Your code looks difficult to maintain. Maybe it is. I'm the only one working on the project, so that might be true. Squeak, you're kind of spamming the chat with unrelated stuff. W stream, T4 for the time and attention, Robert. Good night, God bless everyone to chat here. If you're an atheist, have a wonderful day. Thank you for the kind words. I didn't know that you are doing. How do you know what you are doing when coding? I wrote the application, so it's a I guess it takes a bit of time to get it back into my head, but I know I have my own vision of how to put things together, and I know my way around it. Right now I'm just figuring out how to basically bypass sending input to the focused frame, and we're going to send it to the help menu frame. Didn't answer. What is your favorite city in Canada? I'm not sure I have a favorite. I haven't been to that many cities in Canada. Been to Toronto, Vancouver, St. John, Moncton, Fredericton. I don't know. There's nice spots in each of them. Vancouver. Vancouver is probably best because of the weather. He's an ex-NVIDIA, ex-Amazon 10x developer. Yep. What I should be asking is, how do you know what to do when making an app specifically? It depends. There's the specific example answer depends on like what I'm trying to do. This is a terminal-based application, so everything. Right now I'm working on making a help menu, so I had to figure out like it's just a matter of breaking it down into problems. I have to figure out like how to position stuff on the screen and how to format the text and how to center it and so forth. I love Vancouver, but I really want to pay a visit to Quebec and practice my French. Yeah, Quebec I think has it's pretty. There's some areas of Quebec that are really like, I don't know, really nice like old style bars and stuff like that. None of the like kind of modern, sterile, corporate city landscapes. So it's engaging with other people in the chat to consider on topic. No, it's not too on topic. I just like almost all of you've got like 3-4 chats in a row. There are books specifically on covering software design and architecture. Unfortunately, there is no easy answer. Yeah, it really knowing what to do next really depends. The answer depends very much on what the problem is you're trying to accomplish first. we should say Québécois. Software design and architecture equals having experienced the book's due title. Are we going to buy a ton of nuke or what? I guess if we raise enough money for the World Domination program, then. And what says, hello, Robert. How's it going? Trade-off between clearly communicating and writing books. Trying to say something shortly after I hit send. Feels like I should elaborate or develop another thought. But it does increase engagement statistics. The goal is not necessarily just to create engagement statistics, because engagement for the sake of engagement is just it has to be related engagement. So my niche is like software development, and everything we're doing right now is broadcast live on the internet. It's on there. It's out there permanently forever. So I have to be mindful of like if random people stop by in the chat and they're like, oh, look at these weird people talking about weird things. So I mean, it's inevitable people come by, and there's certainly been the share of like, you know, random people putting like troll comments and stuff like that. But I think for the most part, people should come here and find topics about like programming or I don't know, software development stuff or career stuff or. All right, I think that'll work. Can we get a chat rate of 5? I guess if there's just more chats. What is your monthly rent amount again? It went up a little bit, went up 2 and something %. So it's like $1,120 something, I think. I didn't understand generics until I had to use them. Generics are used to create data structures that isn't tied to a specific data type. Yeah, I have a few of them in this program, but I always forget like the rules for generics in Java. Guys, someone tell me what a collection is. I doubt someone can explain hard CS concepts to in live chat. A lot of those things, like some of those, like if you're trying to figure out what a collection is in, say, Java in a specific language, the authoritative answer is you have to look at the documentation, because something like there are concepts like a list or a queue or something like that, where as soon as you say a queue, there are certain primitives that it's supposed to support. That's kind of generic to whatever language, but I think a collection, you can probably find a textbook definition for what a collection data type is supposed to support. But in something like Java, you'd have to just like look at the documentation. It probably usually when they implement that stuff, they try to make it true to like what its name is. So if you say that you have a collection of things, you could say, what can you do with that collection of things. You could count the collection of things. Maybe you could sort them. Maybe you could iterate over the collection. And then, so the collection object would just allow you, it would allow you to do those things. And then maybe you could take a collection, and you could take a collection and use it to initialize like an array or a set or something like that. Once you take a collection, put it in an array, then maybe you could do other operations on it. I make hacky generics in C with macros once. If you had to give a music recommendation of any kind, what would you say? It could be legit, be anything that's out there. I don't know. There's a lot of music that I like out there. There's funk music and vaporwave. Those are good old classics. And then there's whatever random stuff gets recommended by YouTube. C supports generics now in C11. Interesting. C supports generics. Too bad no one moves past C89. I used to use like C. What was it? C99. IDKY. Type dynamic stuff. Like generics make sense. Just add a param for type and make if statements. Yeah, but then you have to make if statements. The whole point is to have less code, or just use metaprogramming. Well, I guess generics basically let you do like metaprogramming in the language, so you don't have to build some second language that transforms into what you're trying to program. Let's see. Yeah, I guess if someone's willing to give more detailed explanations, then feel free. So the Discord is it's not my Discord. It's someone else who's a subscriber. I consider it his Discord, but a lot of people who I don't really have my Discord. Actually that's not kind of a lie. I do have a Discord thing that I set up, but I don't really use it. because I don't. It's too many social medias to keep track of. But there's a few people there. Anyone who's interested in the channel, I've just been sending them there, and I haven't found any reason to not endorse that Discord. So. Got the first 3 hours of my Rust cross-term CLI application in. Nice. I think it's probably, you probably can't actually paste links in chat. So you probably have to just like take out those backslashes or something. Yeah, YouTube, I assume, deletes URLs, which is a good thing. It's otherwise people would be constantly like spamming stuff in chat, like click here for this virus. You're the type of guy to listen to a song called Human Music? That's like a Rick and Morty thing, isn't it? I have a command line. I have a bash command that I wrote that composes music, and it's basically just like random beeps on the musical scale. Let me think. Yeah, I think if you just Google like compose music in Bash, I think you'll find it's on blog.robertelder.org. Still have it. If it's on Google, it's somewhere on my blog. Happy Friday, everyone. Oh yeah, I didn't even know it's Friday. Excellent. Friday is my favorite day. Saturday? I guess depends on what time zone you're in. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. Sundays and Mondays are the worst. It's definitely true when you have to go back into the grind. But me, I get to work every day. Petition to make 4-day workday a thing. There's lots of people that want to do that, but it's not good for GDP. Sunday itself isn't so bad. Sunday night that gets you. Seems like 2-day weekends just end up getting used to my chores and groceries. Yeah, so much of life is just like just random stuff takes up so much time. Getting groceries and like renewing stuff and paying bills and like screwing around with stuff that you shouldn't have to mess around with. Fighting evictions. Oh, I forgot to actually test the thing that I wanted to test. Oh, interesting. That's not supposed to happen. Interesting. GDP is meaningless measurement. Not all occupations can shift to 4-day week, but there are ones that can. Take a salary cut if admit 4-day work week. Yeah, it's kind of random how, like arbitrary how our work week is. I think what do they do in China? It's something slightly different, isn't it? Rather than the 7-day week with the 2 days off. Honestly, I'd work extra for 4 days to get more day off. I can safely bet that most people aren't that productive on the last work day after some time. You get diminishing returns. Yeah, but then the last of those 4 days would become the new Friday, and then everyone would slack off on that day. Who works 8 hours a day? Some people. I used to have felt like 30 minutes a day entered flow. The mythical flow state. Saturday never used to be a thing. I think Ford started making Saturday a day off. Having Saturday definitely has positive effects overall. I don't think anyone will argue otherwise. Interesting. I didn't know it was that was Ford that started making that a thing. Pretty soon the economy will tank, and then the government will tell us all that we have to work 8 days a week. Let me think. I thought I had a separate method here somewhere for when escape sequences are sent. Like when you press the up arrow key, it sends a special sequence. On NC escape sequence. That's what I thought. There it is. Is an AI supposed to just give us more free time? Or maybe it'll consume our free time. Henry Ford had a radical idea that if you treat workers better, it lowers turnover and therefore increases productivity. Yeah, the current economy is so inefficient. I think employees are due, companies are due for a new reckoning, because the whole churn that we have now of like the hiring fiasco and the lack of loyalty and stuff. There's just so many issues with the job market now. You can't put AI anymore. Just word for the future. Some Black Mirror stuff is going on these days. Yeah, there's like I said earlier in the stream, someone was asking about stuff on YouTube. That was stuff I get recommended a lot of like military technology things about like what advancements in military technology, and they have like drone warfare has become a big deal in Ukraine, and so now they're like doing like anti-jamming stuff. So they're doing like fiber optic drones, and man, that stuff is horrifying. The fact that exists now. It's kind of like it just basically makes it more lethal on both sides. I hope we don't get drafted. Offensive is overpowered in this world versus defensive. Yeah, I think that is kind of the gist of it. Like, there's so many ways that you can attack things now. There's no defense to this world that can destroy itself. I guess I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that, but Right, that might do what I want. Oh, I know why. Nukes are a good defense. They're the ultimate defense. You're more of a cat or a dog person? I'm a cat person. Dogs are too. Dogs need too much attention. Based choice. I'm glad I picked the right option. Coffee or tea? I like both. Soda or pop? That's a difficult one. They're both equally good. So when I turn off the menu, it's not updating. So I've got to fix that. guess I can do that. That's a lazy way to solve my problem. I should probably send a message back from that frame. Actually, that might solve both of the update issues. Most Midwestern use word pop to describe carbonated sweet drink. The East Coast use soda. South says everything is Coke. Yeah, it's interesting how many like statistical things you can pick up on that way. I'm sure AI now is nice. That's working. That switching does not work. Like you could probably, AI could probably like listen to you for a while, and like a person you can recognize, you know, like someone from New York talks a certain way and stuff. But like a regular person could just listen to someone and say, "Oh, you're East Coast, West Coast," but then an AI could do that now, probably like way down to like a voting district level, and it could probably like determine things about a person that's scarily precise, like what exact high school you went to or something, because everyone in some specific high school learned some wrong fact about something, or they write a certain way. Let's see what this does. That sounds scary, but it's probably true. I mean, it would have to be. Nice, look at that. We got a amazing help menu. Maybe give it enough data, I can tell who are your parents. Yeah, there's that. There was that. It was that thing on Hacker News for a while. It was called like 31 bits of information or something. Using like 31 bits of information, you can uniquely identify an individual. I'm sure like AI can do, you know, stuff that's on that same level. And you could weaponize that for like getting certain people to vote a certain way, and Oh, I'm getting stiff from sitting in the same position, streaming so much. Oh, my bounce detection is not working. my bounds detection must be backwards. Still wrong. Why was this recommended to me? LMAO. The algorithm chose you. Is this a game in the terminal? Yes, it is indeed. Why is my code not working? Up arrow would decrease the index. Are you using special glyphs? How do you have the square cells? So everything is using emoji characters. So they're all characters that you can print in the terminal, which ends up being a difficult problem to solve because there's all kinds of extra wide characters. It's hard to get column alignment correct, so there's a bunch of funky stuff I have to do to. Yeah, it's just aligning nicely. That's a lot of. It takes a lot of work to get that to happen. Losing my mind, not able to do a simple list movement. I was looking at not curses for something like this. Yeah, in general, so I looked for there's actually there's a built-in function for measuring the length of a term of a character, but the solution I went with was actually kind of a bit more elaborate. Let me just test this one thing. Okay, down doesn't work. Yeah, so the code, the way I solved it was, and by the way, the code for this is all on GitHub. In the console writer thread, my solution is kind of crazy, but so I have the application is multi-threaded. It actually uses quite a few threads. I'm used to writing software with like lots of blocking and message passing and stuff. So I have a dedicated thread. So this thread is the unique way for anything to write to the terminal. So everything goes to this console writer thread state through a message, and down here it's processing. It's got some code to test whether let's see, where is it? It's kind of spaghetti code and it's hard to read on this monitor, but when I am printing something and I don't know the size of the character, I send a text with measurement request to this thread, and then this thread stops the printing. It prints out a test character to a location on the screen, and then it empirically measures. You can use a cursor position report, so you just, like, to measure the character, you just print it and then measure how wide it is, and then save that result. And I found that that is the most empirically globally correct result. And I found that works pretty well between like wide mode and narrow mode, and because the width of a character, you can even go into if you go into preferences, compatibility, and you can change this to narrow, and that'll completely break the width sizes. So to make it even work with that, then it's a pretty general solution. Now that actually doesn't work in GNU Screen in wide mode, because it has some bugs, and you can get some really weird behavior with that. Yep, it's a problem. I've written a lot of like terminal applications, and it's a problem I kept running into. So I'm like, you know what, I'll just solve this once and for all with this elaborate solution. But it seems to work pretty well so far. I thought world domination meant actual world domination. Sounds really cool. Actually, I am going for real world domination, but it's going to take a while to raise enough funds. Have you seen the not Cursus demos? I haven't used it, but it's pretty impressive. I've not. I'll make a note. Check it up. Actually. I often say I'm going to look up stuff and then I forget it on stream, but what's this explain? So currently I'm working on a terminal-based block mining simulation game. So it looks like that. And then if I compile it and run it, it's a video game that you can play in the Linux terminal, where you wander around an infinite procedurally generated universe. You spam the M key to mine blocks. Just like this, and there's an infinite number of blocks in the game, and once you finish mining all of them, you win the game. It's a work in progress. Any community building plans? What specifically do you mean by that? If you don't mind, a link in your chat, linking a quick clip of Zelda running in the terminal with not curses. I'm not sure. I don't even know if I can control whether you can post links or not. It'll probably just censor you. If it's a link to YouTube, that's fine. Don't know. I've heard you talk about that kind of thing before. I thought it was in relation to your channel. I think, yeah, I did have a live stream where I talked about that a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, I am interested in the idea of building a community. There is actually a Discord that some people have set up, so that some people talk there. Other than that, I don't have, at the moment, I don't have a lot of resources to actually work on doing that. I still have my day thing now is I have a couple more days. I got to focus on my N13 merits hearing is coming up on the 26th. Will it? Yeah, I guess you can try. If you have a link to like a YouTube video, you can try pasting that in the chat. I don't know about other. I just noticed it blocked it. Okay, not surprising. Is he Jewish American? I don't know who you're talking about. Man, this breaks my mind. This should work, but it doesn't. Don't use VI and no syntax, crazy stuff. I have syntax highlighting on. I actually have IntelliJ open, but I've been trying to switch to learning an IDE, and I just keep not using it because it never. I find it faster just to do code most of the stuff in the command line. Although I do use it for if I have a lot of errors, if I'm writing a lot of code, I'll just compile it in this and then highlight all the errors. There's probably some other stuff I can do to, I don't know, get like incremental compiling or something. I need to mess around with it a bit more to figure it out. Yes, says CNC. What's the bug you're working on? I just got here. So the bug is when I do my help menu and I press the down arrow key, it doesn't do it. Oh, is it? So press down and it should go down, but it's not. Is it going in the opposite direction? I don't know. This is like a simple program. This is like a simple interview question. And my mind is not getting it. Let me just swap these. -1, +1. I don't know if I'm mixing up the keys somewhere or something. Down arrow key. Let's see what this does. Is NASA going to be hacked tomorrow? Probably not, but we'll see. I've definitely installed VS Code just to use GUI debugger instead of screwing around with DIP and Vim. Actually, I'm not even familiar with DIP. I guess up until now, I haven't really necessarily needed a lot of. I've used a visual VM, which was like I had to do some like profiling. Write a for loop to highlight options in a menu. Okay. Okay, that also doesn't work. So that tells me I'm not going in the wrong direction. All right, this worked. This worked before when I let it just go off the end. So, okay. Current menu index -1. Current menu index +1. So that'll roll off the end. I actually don't know how to do this at all. I've seen it done in curses, but I can't remember how beyond it being a for loop. Yeah, I've I actually haven't really used curses that much. There are a few. So the program is written in Java. And I may actually eventually need to call out some ncurses functions to do like, there's some like, if I ever wanted to do mouse support or something, there's a few functions that it has available. And I had to write a JNI library to catch signals. So like if I do this, I can actually get there's some bugs in it though, but so it actually resizes the window. Okay, down. Okay, that's what I want. That's what I want. and up and up, and that's exactly what I want. So if I do escape and quit. Now, why didn't that work when I have the bounds checking on? So if it's less than 0, restrict it to 0. Otherwise, now what does this do? You've not cursed this. What are you writing this in? Just raw term OS? Yeah, basically. I haven't had a need for, I guess I may, if I try to run this in a lot more terminals, it may be subject to, huge breakage. I have not actually tried it. It's possible that I may actually have to, like, in order to make it more portable, like, adapt some of the lower level things to actually use some like established ncurses functions or something. But for now, the only supported platform is Ubuntu. I guess that's if I continue it. There's other ways I could. The main reason I'm doing starting off with a terminal is it's like low fidelity, so I can make it work in this platform, and then I can maybe even like once it works in a terminal environment, it would be very easy to make it work with like much better graphics in a graphical interface. And it's also a 3D world, so you can go up in it. So the whole thing could you could just have another user interface that's like a 3D version of the world, because everything is just isometric blocks. Let me think. Okay. Now press up. That's good. Press down. That's what I want. And that goes off. Okay, this is working. Why didn't it work before? All right, the next bound. It's greater than or equal to the max index. Question mark, max index. Otherwise, we increment by 1. I think that's what I just wrote. Maybe I have a typo in it. Or had a typo in it. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Oh no, I thought I was doing, maybe I forgot a break statement in a case. Okay. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought making a TUI game would be easy to change something else. I guess it depends how you implement it. The underlying like model of the game is just like isometric blocks. So like theoretically to render this scene like with some other like OpenGL or something like that, would be pretty easy. And then since like everything is basically just like a internally in the game model, everything is just isometric tiles. So all the stuff like the chunk loading, the chunk initialization, and stuff like that, all that code would be reused. It would be identical, and then just the presentation layer of it would be all you need to change. Why are you keeping track of max index? Should the max index not change based on keyboard input? It doesn't change. Doesn't change based on keyboard input. That code will probably factor around later. If I eventually, I'll probably have like nested menus, so it'll probably have to calculate the max index based on what level of the menu nesting it has. Okay, so up, that doesn't go up more. Oh wow, there's the bug again. So I go down. Well, what is going on? I'm losing my mind. I forgot how to program. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, maybe you're noticed the same bug that I just noticed. So what I want is not the current menu index. I want the total number of menu items. Was that what I was doing before? Man, what a dumb mistake. That's what I want. See what you mean? It's just 2D array. Yeah, basically the presentation layer. But in reality, the game world itself is actually 3D. So you could render this game like this existing world. So if I go to spacebar, so we're going through the slice of this thing here. So this is a 2D overhead slice of something. So you could theoretically render this entire world in like a Minecraft-like world, and you could just reskin everything. I say just because you still have to do all the graphics programming and stuff, but all stuff like the chunk loading and everything is like the internal chunk loading, the server communication, all that stuff would be the same. Is there game state saving loading? Yes, everything is automatically saved to a SQLite database. Why don't you dominate my world instead? It's possible if I can get enough money. Calvin Gold says, LOL. Morning, Robert. Hope you're keeping well. I just woke up. It's early here from the UK. I need coffee. Man, coffee is great. I wouldn't mind some coffee now, but it's 1 a.m. Did not notice. Can barely write Python. You're setting max index to current index minus 1. Because I'm stupid, and I made a mistake. Oh yeah, so all right, there we go. This is what it's supposed to do. Somehow that took me like half an hour to figure that out. And then eventually, the next step is make enter work. Chat is too slow. Glad it's fixed. I forgot how to write with a pen the other day. It's been so long. Oh, that's pretty bad. Programming while streaming is hard. Yeah, it is. Although I find after like several hours of it, I kind of get into the groove of. I get into like the multitasking flow state. Seems very hard. Can't imagine keeping my train of thoughts while chat is nattering at me. Yeah, it was difficult at first. I did like a 12-hour stream once, and then at the end of that, I was like, I can probably do this. I graduated college. Excellent. That's a start. Lauren Casper says, what distro do you use? I use Ubuntu, unless I have a reason not to. Yeah, any computer I want to get work done on, I use Ubuntu. All right, it is currently 1 a.m. I got a little bit of work done on the block mining simulation game. So I will probably call it a night, and I'll be back probably tomorrow to raise even more funds for world domination. Pop OS. Yeah, I've heard Pop OS is good for playing video games and stuff, but I don't play video games, so. All right, have a good night.